Ukraine knows the number of Russian Black Sea Fleet ships that remain in temporarily occupied Crimea, and none of them are combat-ready. This was reported by Ukrinform media, citing Navy spokesperson Dmytro Pletenchuk. He stressed that the remaining vessels from the combat fleet are either currently not combat-ready or undergoing major repairs. The rest belong to the fleet's auxiliary forces, which do not pose any significant threat. The vessels still stationed in Sevastopol Bay are being constantly relocated by Russian forces to reduce the chances of being targeted by Ukrainian defenders, added Pletenchuk. Also, according to him, Moscow continues to build new ships in the temporarily occupied Crimea, but for now it's not worth wasting expensive munitions on them. Russian forces have begun utilizing UAVs to disperse unexploded ordnance across Ukrainian territory. This was reported by the Ministry of Internal Affairs of Ukraine. On their Telegram page, they also uploaded a photo of explosive objects that were found in Kyiv following a recent Russian Shahed drone attack. According to the statement, these items may vary in appearance but pose a significant risk due to the uncertainty of their detonation timing. Russian forces reportedly performed yet another summary execution of Ukrainian prisoners of war, this time with the transgression captured on video. On April 10, the Associated Press released drone footage from the village of Pyatikhatki in the Zaporizhzhia region. The video, recorded by a Ukrainian UAV from the 128th Mountain Assault Brigade, shows 4 Ukrainian soldiers lying face down after surrendering. After being searched, a Russian soldier approaches and opens fire, followed by others.
Our assessment is that this is not a typical combat killing. This is an illegal action, and that these soldiers are executing unarmed Ukrainian soldiers who are not threatening these Russian soldiers at all.
The Ukrainian Parliament Commissioner for Human Rights, Dmytro Lubinets, reported that he already sent letters to the International Committee of the Red Cross and the UN for them to document the crime. He underlined that such executions are not isolated incidents, but a systemic Russian policy. The UN Human Rights Monitoring Mission in Ukraine, meanwhile, highlighted a growing number of executions of Ukrainian POWs, linking them to dehumanizing rhetoric, amnesty laws, and a lack of accountability. Ukraine will receive a new aid package from Germany, which includes 4 Iris-T air defense systems with 300 missiles. This was announced by the country's defense minister, Boris Pistorius, ahead of a meeting of Ukraine's defense contact group, also known as Ramstein. According to him, Berlin will also deliver 100,000 artillery rounds.
We are talking about 4 more Iris-T systems plus the 300 missiles. We are talking about 120 man-pads, that is ground-based air defense systems. We're talking about 300 reconnaissance drones initially, 25 more mortar infantry fighting vehicles, 15 Leopard main battle tanks, 14 artillery systems, 100 ground surveillance radars, and initially another 100,000 rounds of artillery ammunition. Our reliable support is therefore continuing, and what's more, and this is very topical, as of yesterday, I can announce that in the past few days we have also been able to provide 30 additional Patriot-guided missiles from our own stocks for the Patriot systems that we have already delivered to Ukraine.
Meanwhile, Lithuania plans to allocate another 20 million euros for the purchase of ammunition for Ukraine. This was stated by the country's defense minister, who added that this is what the Ukrainian armed forces really need. Dutch Defense Minister Ruben Brekelmans announced that Amsterdam will provide Ukraine with 150 million euros to strengthen its air defense. The day prior, Ukraine's Minister of Defense Rustem Umerov stated that strengthening Ukrainian air defense would be among the main issues of the Ramstein meeting in Brussels. He stressed that Kyiv needs a sufficient number of modern systems, especially Patriots, to protect cities from Russian ballistic missiles. U.S. Presidential Special Envoy to the Middle East, Steve Witkoff, arrived in Russia. This was confirmed by the Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov. Witkoff is set to meet with the Russian leader Putin. According to Axios, citing its sources, U.S. President Trump is reportedly frustrated by the lack of progress in recent talks, and if a ceasefire isn't reached by the end of the month, he may impose additional sanctions on Russia. Prince Harry visited Ukraine on a surprise trip to a rehabilitation center in Lviv, wrote The Telegraph on Thursday. The Duke of Sussex visited the Superhuman Center, which provides prosthetics, reconstructive surgery and psychological support free of charge to those affected by the war. Prince Harry, who is the founder of the Invictus Games, an international multi-sport competition for wounded, injured and sick military service personnel, spent the day with post-games participants as well as those recovering in the center. While there, Harry spoke with 10-year-old Roman Alexiev, who suffered heavy injuries in a Russian missile strike on Vinnytsia in July 2022. Prince Harry, who served in the British Army for 10 years, also met with the Ukrainian Minister of Veteran Affairs Natalia Kalmykova.
It's my first visit to Ukraine. And it certainly won't be the last. And it was an absolute honor and a privilege to be able to travel here with the Invictus delegation and to come here to the Superhuman Center and see what an absolutely mind-blowing care and rehabilitation that is provided here under this purpose-built roof. I want to remind Ukraine that the world stands with them.
April 11th marks 1 month since Ukraine accepted a full interim ceasefire proposed by the United States in Jeddah. Meanwhile, Russia refuses to agree to it, putting forward conditions and demands, stressed the Ukrainian Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha on his X page. Since that time, Moscow has struck Ukraine with almost 70 missiles of various types, over 2,200 Shahed drones and more than 6,000 guided aerial bombs. According to Sybiha, this is the Russian response to a peace proposal. He underlined that Russia is the only obstacle to peace and the only source of the war, adding that there is no need to wait another month to increase pressure on Moscow. More than 300 civilians remain in the Novoselivka village, some 15 kilometers from the front line, surviving the constant threat of Russian shelling.
I want to stay at home, of course, but it's scary. The village center is decimated. Many of the houses are damaged. A lot of people are leaving.
Recently, a Russian-guided aerial bomb blew up near 15-year-old Anna and her family's house. Her mother decided it's now time to take the kids away from all the danger without further delay.
It was very loud, very. The kids were so nervous, especially my daughter. We were crying together.
The mother, along with her 11-year-old son Volodymyr, 15-year-old Anna, and their cat Tyson, are moving to a safer part of the country away from Russian-brought devastation. However, at least 10 children still remain in Novoselivka, according to the National Police White Angel Evacuation Unit. Ukraine's defense contact group nations committed to increase military assistance to Ukraine with a total of 21 billion euros, which is $23.8 billion. This was reported by the UK Defense Secretary John Healey during a press conference following the conclusion of the 27th Ramstein meeting. Hosted by the UK and Germany defense ministers in Brussels, the talks gathered representatives of nearly 50 nations across the world that support Ukrainian defense.
And the new pledges of military aid announced today through the UDCG total over 21 billion euros. A record boost in military funding for Ukraine, and we're also surging that support to the frontline fight.
Healey also announced new military aid worth nearly $590 million, almost $460 million will come from the UK, the rest being provided by Norway through the UK-led International Fund for Ukraine. The new package includes radar systems, anti-tank mines and thousands of new drones. Funding will also be allocated for the repair and maintenance of military vehicles and equipment.
We're thankful for the coalition capabilities that has been presented today to the lead nations, to the contributing nations, and it is one of the largest assistance that we are getting.
According to Ukraine's defense minister, a new coalition to support Ukraine was created during the meeting. The Electronic Warfare Coalition became the 9th within the Ramstein format and was joined by 11 countries. It will focus on procurement of equipment, education and training of specialists and development of policies and doctrines in the field of electronic warfare.
Peace in Ukraine appears to be out of reach in the immediate future. We will ensure that Ukraine continues to benefit from our joint military support. Russia needs to understand that Ukraine is able to go on fighting, and we will support it.